Welcome to episode 20 of The Week in Gear, the show in which I rank the most exciting guitar gear released in the last 7 days, all the way up to my pick of the week. So, if you're a gear addict, make sure to hit that subscribe button and prepare to get gas. Apologies again, I skipped a week last week because I was at Guitar Summit, and what a week last week was for gear. If I had released a twig then, as the kids are calling it, it would have been definitely the best episode ever. But alas, I didn't. So let's see if this show can be half the show that show would have been. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about this week's sponsor. Helping to make this show possible this week are the lovely people at 𝗚𝗏𝗡𝗏. 𝗚𝗏𝗡𝗏 exists to help you make your guitars better. And if you've never worked on your own guitars, then you owe it to yourself and to your guitars to take a look at this book. How to Make Your Electric Guitar Play Great by the legend that is Dan Ølleveien. This book is considered one of the Bibles of guitar maintenance by many people that I respect and love. It has full guides on things like troubleshooting your setup and installing new pickups, and I use it as reference extremely often. So before you let some guy on Craigslist touch your precious axe, teach yourself the art of guitar setup for less than what the intern at the local music shop would charge you. Also, visit the link in the video description to get 10% off all 𝗚𝗏𝗡𝗏 stuff thanks to your pal, TheGuitarGeek. Okay, let's kick off this week's most exciting gear releases with a uni vibe from Strymon. Now, we've been treated to quite a few new pedals from Strymon this year, and now they have a little purple one called the Ultraviolet Vintage Vibe. This is a compact digital stereo pedal with MIDI and the option to control any of the knobs with an expression pedal. There are 3 bias modes which affect the tone and the shape of the sweep. There's a chorus mode for a 50-50 dry-wet mix, there's a vibrato mode for 100% wet, and a blend mode which is 30% wet, or 70% dry depending on how you put it. I'm more of a my cup is 30% wet kind of guy. There's the expected speed and intensity knobs, and the volume gives you up to a 4 dB cut or boost. Very handy in a modulation pedal to bring that volume back up, or indeed to cut it if things are getting a bit too tasty. There's also USB-C, which allows you access to 300 preset locations, and oh, did I mention that this is a purple pedal? Well, it is, and it's coming in at just under $300. I love me some Hendrix and Robin Trower, and I really look forward to trying this at some point. Strymon rarely disappoint with their pedals, if you have the cash to splash on them. At number 4 this week, 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏 are back, baby. This time with a signature model for Andy James from Five Finger Death Punch and Andy James the solo guitar virtuoso. This new guitar is based on the 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏 Assassin, but with a pitchfork headstock, and I think it looks killer. See what I did there? It features a low-profile 5-piece Maple & Wenge C-shaped satin neck, a heel-less neck-through construction, and Fishman Fluence modern humbuckers. Now, 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏 say the body is made of mahogany with a flamed maple top, but Sweetwater have it listed as an older body. Older body. So, anyway, I'm not sure which one is right, but if you know, let me know. We're also looking at a 14-inch radius ebony fretboard with 24 extra jumbo frets, Grover locking tuners, and an Evertune bridge. Quite strangely, there is an 8-string version, a 7-string version, and a 6-string version. And there are 3 color options: satin black, satin white, and translucent green. So many choices. But do these 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏 guitars come with a hard case? Nope! You don't even get a gig bag, you get a box. So wait for it, but the guitars are coming in at just over $2,000, and they're made in Korea. Now, some of you may be screaming, "What? A guitar made in Korea for more than $2,000? I will never pay it." Well, don't. But I will agree that at that price, these guitars have to be phenomenal to put 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏 back on the map as a contender when you have the likes of Ibanez and Jackson and ESP all making great guitars cheaper than this. Friedman Amplification have released a refreshingly honest preamp called the IRX. The specs on this baby look great, and the sounds I've heard are also very convincing. Friedman states very, very strongly that the IRX is not simulating a Friedman tube preamp, it is one. There are two independent channels with a boost. Channel 1 can go from a bluesy Marshall through to a more raucous Plexi, while Channel 2 offers the signature Friedman high gain sounds. Interestingly, the boost is also independent, effectively giving you 4 channels. The IRX is more than just a tube preamp. It's also got an IR loader, it's got headphones out, power amp simulation with an effects loop, and USB editing. Friedman are also clear to point out that even though this is a pedal, the two 12AX7 tubes are running at the correct voltage that you would expect from a Friedman amp, or indeed any amp. So it seems that the tubes in it are not just there for that red, satisfying glow. Yes, I'm looking at you, Behringer. There are quite a few demos of this on YouTube already, and yes, as a Marshall lover, I am in love with the sound of this preamp. I love Marshall sounds, but it seems that others are doing Marshall better than Marshall at the moment, and Dave Friedman is one of them. However, calling the pedal the IRX is confusing for me because it feels that that's an IR loader rather than a preamp, but I'm sure there's some logic there that I just haven't researched. Even though this has USB, I really like that everything has a knob and that you can go there and touch things and twist it and twiddle it. And there are no menus to dive through, so if you're going direct to PA or looking to record with real tubes in a small space, at around $500, the IRX is a very exciting option. In at number 2 this week, a pedal that could in fact work pretty well with that Friedman. It's the OX Stomp from Universal Audio. Promising to get you perfectly mic'd guitar tones in seconds, the OX Stomp is a dynamic speaker emulator that pairs with your amp-in-a-box modelers, giving you added realism and studio quality effects, or so say Universal Audio. Now you might be familiar with the very popular OX amp top box, or the OX box. Well, this OX Stomp is the OX box, but without the load box built in. So don't go plugging an amp into this OX Stomp. From the pedal itself, you can dial in room reverb and speaker drive, you can blend the 2 selectable mics, you can save up to 6 presets and assign them to 2 foot switches. The OX Stomp also has Bluetooth, so you can edit your settings on the go if needs be. I have one of these coming into the studio very soon, and I will put it through its paces, but being Universal Audio, we can assume 2 things. 1, it's going to sound great, and 2, that great sound ain't gonna come cheap. In fact, I know it's not cheap. It's coming in at around $400, but this is in line with the other pedals, and I really look forward to seeing if it makes any difference to the amp simulation pedals that I already have that have a built-in IR loader and speaker simulation. Pick of the week. My pick of the week this week is a new guitar from Brian May Guitars. Yes, that Brian May. This is the BMG Vision, a hardtail stripped down version of the old lady with 2 vintage voiced humbuckers. The body is acoustic chambered mahogany with a book-matched mahogany top and binding. The 24-inch scale set neck is also mahogany with an ebony fretboard on top with 24 medium jumbo frets, plus that very important 0 fret. I think everyone knows the story of how Brian May built the Red Special guitar in the garage with his dad and went on to use it in one of the most epic bands ever, and indeed a favorite of mine. There were many Red Special copies over the years, and I've owned a few of them, but this is an official model from the man himself, or the people that work for him. With the 2 humbuckers, it has clear Les Paul vibes, but according to a Red Special group on Facebook, due to the chambering, the Vision has been reported to sound more like a 335. In fact, Roberto from that Facebook group sent me some pictures of the one he bought, and he is very happy with his, and I must say, it looks great. Thanks for the photos, Roberto. It comes in two colors, the classic antique cherry and a rather Gretsch-looking natural finish, with more colors to follow, I'm sure. For anyone looking for something a little bit different to a Les Paul or a 335, this Made in Korea Alternative Red Special is coming in at around £845 in the UK. Alrighty, that's it, but before I leave you to decide what you would spend your hard-earned cash on this week, I want to say thanks to my new patrons over on Patreon and to the people who joined this channel on YouTube, who now have their names on screen to show that they support this show. Thank you very, very much. If you want your name up in lights, then click the join button right here on YouTube, and next week I'll be thanking you too. Don't feel the pressure to join, but if you do, I would truly, truly appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this show and you want to be kept up to date on all new guitar gear, go ahead and click there to subscribe. And don't forget to let me know your pick of the week in the comments section. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.